Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. Our webinar will begin in just a few minutes. While you're waiting, please feel free to review our program information at www.csuDH.edu/CEIE/PM. We'll be with you momentarily. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's info session. My name is Anissa Barton-Thompson, and I'm the social media specialist here for the College of Extended and International Education at California State University, Dominguez Hills. I'll be your host for this presentation, so welcome. This webinar is being recorded and will be available on the website shortly, right after the session, along with our social media resources. And we have a Project Management Certificate Programs Information Kit for you, and that's available for you to download. It's right in the chat section of our webinar setup. You can also access it online at bit.ly/CSUDH-PM-infokit. Now, we've provided a link in the chat for those who are participating live, and it will also be available in a follow-up email to attendees as well as on our website. Now, before we jump in, I'd like to review the Zoom controls. Now, the session is being presented in a webinar format, and you won't need to worry about connecting your microphone or your camera. However, we want your participation. So help us address your needs. Use the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen on your Zoom desktop app or web browser, or in the top right of your screen if you're on a mobile device. Please ask your questions in that Q&A panel rather than in the chat panel. In the chat panel, we will be providing helpful links and other information. We'll also be providing a live transcription, and you'll be able to turn on that live transcription on or off at your convenience. Once you click the Q&A button, a dialog box will open, allowing you to type your question. Our marketing staff members, Stephanie Buchian and Keith Otterberg, as well as Program Director Elizabeth Legg, are standing by to assist. We'll be answering those questions at the end of the session, and although often you may find that the questions that you have are being answered during that session and through the overviews. Now, with that being said, let's take a quick look at our session's agenda for today. We'll begin by meeting our certificate faculty, who will introduce you to the program via an overview of benefits, expectations, and course details. Then we'll go over the registration and login information and address your questions in our Q&A session. We'll also have a survey at the end of this webinar, and we'd love to get your feedback so we can make sure future events are even better. And if you're on social media, please use the hashtag CSUDH Extended Ed or tag social at CSUDH Extended Ed. Now, joining us today to lead off this info session are our two project management instructors, Dr. Kamal Inamdar and Mr. Tammo Wilkens. They will be sharing their personal insight and expertise on the program, its benefits and details, and they will be available for our program Q&A segment at the end of the presentation. Dr. K, take it away.
Hi, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us. My name is Kamal. I have been a project manager for almost 30 years, and brings me a great pleasure to share with you the knowledge that we have. And we have been teaching project management classes here. And one of the things I wanted to share with you that I do have a degree in engineering, a master's in business, and then doctorate in education from Pepperdine University. I've been working as a project manager for 30 years, actually more than 30 years, and have been teaching at least for more than 12, to be more exact, 10 years at the same campus, Cal State Dominguez. I have taught project management at other universities like UC School Systems, UCI, UCLA, and also UC Riverside, and project management at Cal State Dominguez, classes at Cal State LA, and then classes at Cal State Long Beach for the master's program and also the undergraduate program. What I wanted to show you is a picture of where I work and the place, what we do, how project management is applied, and give you a brief information about what we have accomplished in actually implementing project management principles. So before I go there, I wanted to make sure that I was able to explain to you that learning project management is used, applied, and practiced on a daily basis. I would like to show you a slide that shows satellites. These are commercial satellites, large commercial satellites, defense satellites, and what they do for us in terms of bringing the business to the entire world. By the way, speaking of satellites, we all know that satellites make a tremendous difference in terms of technology, GPS systems, television programming, internet, using for the online shopping, business planning, and guess what? We have been using the same product for teaching you online. And I have students in my class right now. She's actually from Massachusetts. So when I start my class Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, it's noon for her. So we can now bring technology to the world for the last several decades, but the online teaching has become one of the biggest thing at every level. So my engagement in my professional life is building, satellites, but there are so many components of that. And we also do a lot of planning on the communication satellites. So with that said, I'm going to move on to the next slide. That is the slide where I would like to show you what it takes us to use in terms of building satellites from the design to launch. So when we are designing satellites, it all depends on who the customer is, and making sure that we have created a very robust design that would work for our customers for more than 30 years. We have satellites in the orbit for more than 30 years. And all of this work, folks, this is my biggest message to you. All the work we do at our companies, our jobs, we are using project management principles. When we're using project management principles, we are using everything that we will teach you the same thing, probably in a more concise way. But use of project management is not just limited to technology companies. It is used by engineers, business managers, analysts, and of course, people who want to go through project management training. Our major customers include basically Department of Defense, which includes the United States Air Force, the Marines. We also have made a lot of satellites from Navy, NASA, and many other either government contracts or government funded contracts. So use of project management has actually come from these customers basically explaining to us as to what they expect from us. And as you go into this program, you will know that the project management is just not something you learn and do not apply. You actually apply that on a daily basis. What I wanted to show you was, the next slide was the fact that a process of manufacturing and integration of satellites, it takes a long period, and it takes several iterations with thousands of people between El Segundo, where I actually work, our facilities in Seal Beach, Huntington Beach. All of these places have all kinds of integration facilities, test facilities. And you start wondering, where am I going to use this principles of project management? It's a simple, process we use. We take customer requirements, and then we design, then we plan what we're going to do. We execute what we're going to actually had planned, and then continuously monitor and control the project from the very first day of inception all the way to the launch. Now, here's the hard fact. We are working with thousands of suppliers, literally over 10,000 suppliers, and limited amount of, facts that I can use for the company I work for. We have a large supplier base, and the most important part to discuss suppliers is they too use project management. And we are using project management. Our suppliers are part of what we call a global team. So we have suppliers in Asia, we have suppliers in Europe, we have suppliers in South America, Central America, and we have suppliers all over the world, and they make different components for us. So what I want to touch base with you is what is involved in creating a curriculum, or what you're going to be learning in learning project management. Project management, we have two different products here at Galson Dominguez Hills, and the first one is the Project Management Certificate Program. This you will learn from us, myself and my colleague, Mr. Wilkens, that we would talk to you about learning project management principles. The types and sizes of projects vary from project to project. Some projects are less than $1 million. Some projects will go into several $1 billion. So the projects are used, the principles of projects are used in a long, history of projects that has been, over the years has been actually designed. So for example, project management 50 years ago did not have the fundamental components of it, but now we have grown into that. The second thing we also teach you here, and that's exclusively taught by my colleague, that is Microsoft Project Scheduling. And this is a very powerful tool, folks. I have often said that if you don't know how to use Microsoft Project, then you probably have to learn it, or someone is going to make sure that you understand the project software that has been created. And I have seen his syllabus. I've actually talked to him several times, and it's pretty extensive in understanding the key components of learning Microsoft Project. Microsoft Project itself is a software developed by Microsoft Corporation, and over the years, for at least 20 plus years, has gone through many revisions and has really, come out as to be a very user-friendly product. Let me talk to you more details about what we actually intend to teach you. Who's going to be, learning this thing? And now the project management, as I've said, has gone into at least 10 unique areas, 10 unique industries. It varies from finance, information technology, Department of Energy, energy management, the utility companies. I know we have had students come from the local utility companies. Of course, the biggest customer being the United States government. United States government has used project management principles, again, for many reasons. And they have actually worked with contractors, prime contractors. I work for the Boeing company, so we are considered as a prime contractor. We directly work with our customers, which, as I mentioned to you, half of the business, or somewhere around there, is the US government. We actually have the aerospace and defense industry, where I'm actually working. In fact, my whole career I have spent in just doing that. I probably did not imagine when I was going to my engineering school that I would end up in working for the finest employers in the world. And the knowledge of learning and applying project management, whether I learned it myself or actually I ended up in taking exams, then I start teaching, sharing. But the aerospace industry, you will find extensive use of that. Now, the fields that are actually growing tremendously, and I have every class that I've been teaching, we had students, at least 25-30% of the students will come from the healthcare. And healthcare has found a huge wave in using of project management. Construction has been always the foundation for project management. Construction has been in the industry where you will find people using at every level. There are literally tens of hundreds of different products different companies use for their own purpose, their own tailored. Government uses for the freeway systems, transportation systems, schools, landing on the Mars. We just heard that recently, and they'll go on. The Department of Energy uses for power plants, transmission lines, wind farms, solar power, hydraulic dams, and for IT. I mean, you can just imagine IT is both for the what we call the hardware system and the software system. The financing, the finance industry, financial industry, they use it. They use project management. So we had students come from banking. We had students come from actually investment firms. People have used project management. And the only thing I can add to you is that we are making here statements about these industries using. Throughout my classes, I use examples of project management applications in various ways, in many different ways. The project management is not just getting a degree, folks. Project management, getting a certificate from our school is a very detailed way of understanding projects. So you can literally go into any of these fields in the future and could be the person who can actually teach and share your knowledge. And I do mean teach or share your knowledge. The project management also uses a very methodical process of breaking down the process of learning into two different components. One is called the knowledge areas, and the other is called the project phases. The project is done in phases from initiating, where we actually come up with the business plan for new products, launching new process, launching a new website. Then we get into planning process, and planning is done almost for everything we do in project. Without planning, I have always said, if you don't plan, be prepared to fail. And if you're failing, that means you got to go back and replan. So planning is always a key component. And the project management body of knowledge, it teaches you the planning process very, very clearly. And then we go into what we call execution of what we have planned. So in projects, we don't ever execute anything without a plan, because that's the purpose of having the discipline. And planning process is a very, very, dynamic process. We just go over and over about what we want to plan, and we have to replan and replan and replan. So we also bring in what we consider as a change management. Change management works extremely well for many industries, including construction. And so we break this plan, and then we go into the final phase of two phases of monitor, control, and closing. So monitor and control is like you're driving a car on the freeway. You're not going to come home and say, by the way, how did I drive today? Did I miss anything? Did I, run into someone? Monitor and control is a phase that starts from the very first day. In fact, it starts from the very first day before you even sign the charter for the project. The monitor and control starts from the very first day and continues to go on and goes into what we consider as the final phase of closing. So all in all, folks, the project management guide is broken down into 10 unique knowledge areas. Let me give you some examples of the knowledge areas that you would be learning. And that is understanding of the scope, right? What is the scope of my project? That means, what are we planning to do? And so from that point on, we go into the next step is to understand the schedule management. Schedules, we just talked about that. Understanding what steps, what activities we're going to conduct at what time. Then we have to make sure that we are going to stay within the budget. By the way, projects are not blessed with unlimited budgets. In fact, nothing in life, in my opinion, after practicing project management for so long, is ever spent without a plan and a budget. So, we actually control the budget at every step of the project that we are exercising. Then we also learn about quality management. We learn about procurement management. Human resources are one of the strongest portion of any project. For any given project, the most important resource that we ever consider are people, right? And people are the most precious components, of any project. Then we go into understanding the stakeholder management. When you combine all of this, you're going to say, how do I actually, work with the principles of project? And that's where we actually talk to you during the introduction classes, where we actually teach you about what we mean by project integration management. And so project integration management is going to take you from the very first step of the project, which is, as I mentioned to you, the charter, all the way into closing. And when you go through all of that, you will know that you would have a very, very sound practice of managing projects. We use the word PMO, for example, Project Management Office. Most of the companies that I have known, they have project management office. Maybe you will go back to your company the day you will start working on a project. If you're not already, you might want to go and talk to them about how to integrate a project. So PMO, understanding of work breakdown structure, understanding the scope management. So this all runs into a very nice systematic way of planning. The projects are also a process where we know cannot just go any place. It has to be taught in a methodical way. So one thing we do is we use a guide that is actually published by Project Management Institute, PMI. Project Management Institute has for at least now going to close to about 30 years or so, has been publishing a textbook, which is called the Project Management Body of Knowledge. And this is a guide, folks. It's a pretty comprehensive guide. And when you go to that, and when we help you, myself and my colleague, we help you to understand how this guide is used, you will have a better picture. This guide is not meant completely to understand every part of the project. It's just like a guide. It's like, a manual where you can reference it. There is, a description of what you're trying to understand, but it's methodically organized in a way that whenever you have a question, you can reference that. It's been 6 editions so far. So we are towards the very tail end of the 6th edition, PMBOK 6. When I use the word PMBOK, I'm meaning to say that it's Project Management Body of Knowledge. And the 6th edition is what we are using right now. For those who are interested, you will always find being a member of PMI is always the best thing to do, because PMI organization provides you with all this information that you want to have. And by the way, PMI has been in process of providing and publishing, releasing a new edition, which is the 7th edition. Is going to be a good amount of changes from the existing edition. So, the industry moves, and so does PMI. PMI works with the industries and say, what can we be best useful for your employees, and how can we train them, and what guides can we use? So again, the process of 7th edition being published is in works. PMI membership provides many benefits. I've been a member for at least 20 plus years. That benefit includes you to download a 7th edition or the 6th edition whenever you have that available for free. PMI website will also allow you to download many textbooks in a PDF format, which you have to, every time you sign in, you will have to provide with your password, and you can go and access it from anywhere, right? So that's just one of the conveniences. PMI has also conducted exams, fairly rigorous exams, for many years, and those exams are the 2 most important exams where people see the use of their knowledge and giving their employers that they have earned the education plus pass the exam. The first exam is called the CAPM exam. It's a Certified Associate Project Management exam. And the second exam is Project Management Professional exam. Both of these, and many others, at least about 4 others, program level management, portfolio level management. There's an exam for risk management. There's an exam for Microsoft scheduling and so forth. I shouldn't be saying Microsoft, but scheduling. So the exams are conducted, and these exams are good on global basis. So you may have a certificate from PMI that you have passed PMP. Now that certificate is actually good for any part of the world. And the PMI benefits are just amazing. They actually have local chapters. We have chapters, at least 4 chapters that I know of. 2 of them I'm actually involved with. One is the PMI Los Angeles and Project Management in Orange County, and they meet on a monthly basis. And we also do a lot of work in terms of, helping people learn project management as a volunteer basis. So PMI is a very active organization that you will find it's used for. I want to get into some details about project management program we have. We call it Project Management 900 series. And the program is broken down into 900, 901, 902, 903, and 904, which basically 5 courses covers the entire, project management body of knowledge chapters. So we cover up to 13 chapters that are all published and available in PMBOK. We go through the first introduction class, PMX 900, and those are usually for 6 hours. And we teach those classes during the week. On the weekend, I teach Saturday classes. Also, we have classes that we provide you with options when you cannot join a class. You can always ask me or my colleague to say, can we make it up? So in the process of making sure that you learn and you're consistent with going through the series of PMX 900, 901, 902, and so forth, you learn all these things. It covers over 65, 66 hours of total in-class training. When I say in-class training, today is all online classes. And the purpose is to make sure that we are sequencing this process in a way that you have to understand that take this in numerical order. And after that, if you're taking my classes, for example, on Saturday, then you will be coming for roughly 22 sessions, right? Maybe 21 sessions. The PMX 900 can be condensed into one session when we teach you on a Saturday, a total of 6 hours. But after that, every class is 3 hours. And so therefore, PMX 901 is 5 weeks. PMX 902 is another 5 weeks. 3, 4, each one are 5 weeks. So you could be in classrooms online for either 21 or 22 sessions. Each session be, like I said, 3 hours each. The project management classes I mentioned to you are taught by two of us, myself and my esteemed colleague, Mr. Tammo Wilkens. The purpose of the PMX 900 is for those people who really have multiple goals here, folks, right? People who benefit from taking this program. They want to get more skills. We've had students who have actually come to the classes already working in the project management field, and they walk away with says, wow, what a change we saw. Entering the profession, right, of project management, this is one of the biggest changes people are coming for. And if you go into my LinkedIn account, you will find literally hundreds, I mean literally hundreds of students that have learned and they share their experience in learning and how has it benefited them to either change a career and or gain more knowledge, right? They might be expecting a promotion. I've had students who come in to say, hey, Dr. K, my instructor say, not my instructor, my manager says to me that if I don't get my CAPM or PMP, I may not be kept on a job for longer than that, because there's a competition now becomes a requirement. Companies seeking people in this profession are looking for people having, first is having gone through formal training, which we are talking right now, getting through the classes, being certified by universities, PMI, then getting into exams, passing the exams. By the way, PMP passing exam is a very, very time-consuming, very focused, and very, very intense exam. I mean, people prepare for 80 to 120 hours on average in order to pass an exam. CAPM exam, on the other hand, is a fairly easy exam, but people have gone through that. You can only do that, folks, after you have fulfilled the required classes, and that is for CAPM exam. We have requirement that is set by PMI. When I say PMI, it's Project Management Institute, or for the PMP, it's Project Management Professionals, and that has different requirements. The 900 series delivery, as I say, is done live, year-round. The only time I remember I've taken time off is either a major holiday coming or towards the end of the year when we are going for a break. We do not break for even a spring. I just had a spring break teaching my class on a main campus, but we do not have that. We have ongoing sessions. We do have breaks for Saturdays where we would see either Thanksgiving holidays coming during that week or Christmas week. So we usually stop by mid-December. But again, like I said, we just don't offer classes on Saturday. We have classes offered during the weekdays, and students have that prerogative to choose what they want to do. If you continue to take classes without missing much, you can get this, this completed in less than 6 months. As I mentioned to you, 21, 22 weeks time frame. That's only if you go on Saturdays. But if you're taking classes, multiple classes, you can actually complete it. The most important thing, folks, that we expect from you is you be in the class. Attendance is important. We are in the age of online. We have children, school children, learning things online. So we do expect, we meaning our instructors, myself and my colleague, we expect you to participate. So attendance is mandatory, folks. Participation is absolutely critical. We do give you homework assignments. There are no exams. Let me clarify that. We give you enough homework assignments that'll keep you occupied and engaged. So the process of understanding, it's very engaging and it's very active. We have peer review. We have Zoom, the tool that you'll be using when you join classes. Zoom has many components that'll make your teaching more interesting. I teach with my classroom, for example. I request my students to say, if you can, turn on your webcams, and so we can all be having, a live class. The environment of having a live class, and they enjoy that. Students enjoy learning. They speak out. We have, as I mentioned to you, a policy of students attending 3-hour session, meaning 3-hour session. And after that, the homework, you may say it is optional, because homework is not going to be required for you to get your credits, but homework is going to help you to understand the principles better. And so I provide my students with actual examples in projects as to, what we do versus what does the industry do. I gave them exercises at every level. And I usually start with something that may be completely new to them, and they get engaged. I think the focus of engagement is coming from both ends, right? We are engaged. We want our students be engaged. So it's a collaborative work, and we do with a great smile, right? I mean, Saturday morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, who in the world wants to wake up and say, hey, I want to go to a class? That class, if it's interesting, enjoyable learning process, it's worth taking it. And by the way, folks, don't forget one thing. This is for professional improvement that we take these classes. The objective of these classes is to get a deep understanding of the program we offer you, to enhance your skills, practicing of managing projects, making sure that you understand your role as a project manager, your role as a project team member. You may be a sponsor someday, you may be a program manager someday, but it's all about understanding what we have to learn. We do have a very clear objective of showing you what we expect you to do. We have syllabus, right? So between two of us, we come up and we agree on syllabus, and that syllabus is very consistent. The teaching approach might vary, but the syllabus has to follow a program. I mean, there's a guideline. And so we follow through that, so that when a student wants to switch, or let's say wants to make up a session, let's say from my class to Tammo's class, then that student can go and attend and make up the session. The important part of learning the objectives, or at least explaining to you the objectives, is to really explain to you that this is the outcome, right? Like, for example, you're taking any class at any level. Schools are now, we are very hard on learning objectives. What is the objective? What do you expect students to learn? What should be the outcome? And by the way, let me also add one more thing. In my class, I take the passion and interest of making sure that our students who complete the project management classes will gainfully be employed in future in project management after taking this class. So you may already have a degree, our students have, and then you will have, in addition to have this skill. So this is something we considered as what we call it Six Sigma green belt that I am, black belt. This is a skill that you take. So, this is not about fundamentals of marketing or macro and microeconomics. This is about learning the process. So we want to make sure that we have a clear objective when we actually start the class. And I do provide my slides to the students. We use a tool called the Blackboard, and students get on the Blackboard. They have all the contents, everything they have, including homework assignments. I take my attendance on a Blackboard. I do everything using Blackboard. Blackboard is a tool. Some of you may not know. Blackboard is a tool used by university campuses, and we use that for using in our teaching and learning process. So what do you expect when you're done? What do you expect at the course completion, right? So the student will definitely, by God, 100% sure know the meaning of a project, right? The meaning of a project will change dramatically before you start the program versus when you're done with the program. Second thing, what happens is you start appreciating what we call the scope of the project, right? Scope of the project says, this is what we have to do. We call it statement of work. We call it a charter. We call it, a baseline. We call it work breakdown structure. Scope is something that we teach you. From that point on, everything becomes so critical and so important. So when you done, when you join one of these companies, and many companies will be joining this, by the way, the PMI projects this job growth in millions. When you come to my class, I'll show you the PDF file that PMI has shown over the years. And I'm not even saying from my opinion, I'm sharing with you what PMI on a global basis. When we say global basis, it is on a basis across every country that you can think of. And when we teach this is what we get through it. Now, since I've talked about the project management classes, I love to introduce my coworker, my colleague. In fact, the person who actually taught me how to teach classes is Mr. Tammo Wilkens. Tammo, it's all for you.
Tammo, you may need to unmute yourself again.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so glad to see you all here. And thank you, Kamal, for the coverage of the certificate program. So what I'd like to do before I begin, well, first of all, let me tell you how I fit into the program. I teach the certificate program weeknights as well, but tonight I'm going to be talking to you about the Microsoft project scheduling tool that I teach, which is our second program. And before that, a quick overview of who I am, where I come from. So I'd like to give you a brief overview of my background. I've worked for over 46 years in industry, including 31 years of experience in project management. Worked on various types of projects, including software development, engineering, and construction. I've worked for both owners and for contractors. I've worked in private industry as well as on government projects. Now, each of these environments, software, engineering, construction, owner, contractor, private, and government, have their own challenges and ways of doing things. So I'd like to say I've been around the block many times and in many directions. I've also lectured and presented papers in multiple areas of project management, and I am considered a subject matter expert in planning and scheduling as well as earned value management. All of this allows me to bring my vast arsenal of personal anecdotes from the trenches to the classroom. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will help you make the connection between the academics that we teach you and the actual practice of project management. As for this particular program, I actually developed the original curriculum back in 2007, and the program has been growing. And so Dr. Kamal has joined us to help teach us, and I've been teaching it, of course, ever since that time frame. So talking quickly about Microsoft Project. It is a software tool that is designed to assist the project manager and his or her team in the effort to complete the project successfully. Now, by success, most people think in terms of timely delivery and within budget. Specifically, the tool will help you develop a schedule of the activities for your project. It's the roadmap, how you're going to get this thing done. It allows you to assign and manage the resources, primarily the people, and analyze workloads and help in hiring of additional staff if it's required, so you can be sure the people that you need are in place. It allows you to track the team's progress in executing the project, so you can see, are we going to get there in time? You don't want to get to the end of your project and realize you missed the deadline. You don't want that to even happen, so you need to be in front of the curve, so to speak. It helps you manage the budget and, most importantly, tracking the actual costs. And it helps you communicate with the many stakeholders who want to know what's going on with your project. Now, we created this as a separate course because it is fairly extensive and focused on the software. It would be too much to build into the certificate program. This program alone takes about 20 hours of class time. The benefit now of somebody like me teaching this course is that you not only learn how to be an efficient menu jockey, as I call it, but how to actually manage a project with this tool. And it costs relatively little. This program teaches you not just a part, but everything from beginner to intermediate and advanced for a price you're not likely to find anywhere else. It's a real deal. So let's take a look at who should attend this course. Okay, this is for people who are in project management, in our project management series courses, the certificate program, PMX, or in our construction project management program, CMX. And they might need training in the use of the software. It's for people who wish to gain proficiency in using the software and being an efficient user. Okay, so many times you use a piece of software and you don't know all the features. I will teach you all the features. It's for people who wish to enter project management profession at the entry level with scheduling software knowledge. I so many times get the question, how can I get into project management when I don't have any experience? All the job postings want me to have, years and years of project management experience. Well, you come in as an entry level like a scheduler or a planner, but you need to know how to use the tool. So this tool will be a tremendous boon in your resume and in your skill set. It's for people who wish to learn how to configure the software for compliance with PMI's PMBOK guide and practice standard for scheduling. So we deliver this course twice a year, spring and fall. And as I said, it's about 20 hours over the course of 4 or 5 days. The information kit will give you the details. All right, so the course objectives will give you an understanding of using the software MS Project to manage their timelines and resources and costs effectively. It's designed to give students understanding and confidence in using Project 2019 in providing individual hands-on participation in the demonstration of the software features and functions. Now, the course is based on 2019, but it is perfectly acceptable all the way back to 2010, actually. Okay, and I, for those people that are still using 2010, we cover the differences. They're not that humongously many. So most people by now have 2013 or 2016. So this course is good for all of those. It focuses on CPM scheduling with brief references to critical chain and agile project management methodologies as they might be used or implemented with Microsoft Project. And after you've taken this course, you're going to have an appreciation of the complexity and nuances of the program, how to avoid common pitfalls, and applying the software straight out of the box. You may be surprised to know straight out of the box, MS Project is not even a scheduling tool. It's just a bar chart doodling tool. But of course, I'll help you set it up properly. You will have a thorough command of the menu structure and the myriad features of the software. We're going to dance all over the ribbon. If you're familiar with your typical Windows applications, there are just hundreds of icons and tools that we will deal with. You're going to learn how to create schedules, develop cost-loaded baselines, track progress, produce meaningful reports for your stakeholders, what I often refer to as eye candy. If you make it look good, stakeholders are likely to accept it, as well as customize the software to your own particular preferences. And they're going to be armed with an arsenal of skills for entering the and working in the project management profession. So here's a slide that shows, gives you a quick overview of the training manual. It is the required text for the course. You must have it because we follow that very tightly, and you want to be able to scribble and doodle in it to take some notes as well. When you look inside, you'll notice it's very illustrated and graphic, thereby providing a lasting reference guide for the software for years to come. It's only available in the campus bookstore. You need it on the very first day of class. The bookstore is not open on Sunday, so make sure that you get it before the class starts. So this was kind of a rapid overview of the scheduling tool, and I'll obviously entertain questions, and I will turn this now back over to Anissa. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Tammo and Dr. Kamal. Those were excellent overviews of the programs. And we want to just go ahead and get a little more detail about actually getting registered and getting access into the program. So we're going to come back to those instructors in just a moment and go into our Q&A. But first, let's take a really quick look at the course delivery and registration details. Now, almost all of the CSUDH extended education programs are being offered currently in an online format, which means that students are assigned online access through our campus IT services. Each student will need login credentials, and that includes access for our student portal, which is My CSUDH. And the portal includes Blackboard, which Dr. Kamal talked about earlier, which is our learning management system, where the course content is distributed. ToroMail, which is our Gmail-based student email system, and the Zoom web conferencing tool. Now, these login credentials, which are essentially your username, email account, and password, are issued through our registration office approximately 2 to 3 days prior to getting started or right after registration in your first course. Now, enrollment in the programs is available through our extended education registration office Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. If you've taken a course with us previously within the last 2 years, you may be eligible to register online using your My CSUDH account. And there are no current prerequisites for enrollment and no admission process needed. We highly recommend that you register early to take advantage of the registration process and get space in the course, and to allow you enough time to cover course information and online access details that will be created and distributed to you. Payment is due at the time of registration, so you can pay for courses individually or multiple courses all at once. The federal WIOA program, which is Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, provides funding through the California EDD Employment Development Department for qualifying students who are currently either unemployed or seeking career training. For more information, please email wioa@csudh.edu or visit our program website for more information. And again, if you need additional financial information or assistance, please Google private student loan providers or connect with sallymay.com for more student loan details. Again, we recommend that you register at least 1 week before the course begins and check your ToroMail and personal emails frequently for special instructions and campus notifications. You'll also want to be sure to test your account access in Blackboard and get comfortable with the layout of the class, such as where to find announcements, Zoom meeting schedules, discussions, and the like. Now, let us know via our academic technology services if you're having any difficulty connecting to your course content. All right, so at this point in time, we are ready for our Q&A segment. And in the interest of time, because we know we're kind of tight and we've got a few folks who have asked a few questions in the Q&A panel, I'm actually going to kind of skip over our little Q&A screen here. I'm going to stop the share and ask Tammo and Kamal to come on the screen. And I'm going to make sure that everybody can see you both. And the first question that we have, I'm going to address this question to Mr. Wilkens. Will the course material alone be enough to pass the PMP exam? Can you tell us a little bit about that? And you may be muted again, by the way.
Thank you. Absolutely. Let me address that. That's a very common question. The certificate program is not an exam prep class, okay? So it's not what is typically called a PMP prep course. But the certificate program gives you all the knowledge and information that you need to pass the exam. Now, the question was geared specifically to the textbook. Well, yes, the exam is based on the content of the PMBOK guide. And if you know that book inside out, you will very, very likely pass the exam. But of course, we cover all the material in class. And so I always encourage my students, go for the exam after the course because you're very likely to go ahead and pass it. And I get a lot of feedback where they said, hey, thank you. Yes, I passed on the first pass.
Excellent, excellent. Veronica asks, do you keep track of graduates and what is their success rate in passing the exams? And I can get feedback from both of you on that.
So thanks now for answering the question, help our students more. The passing rate is hard to judge, but I do know one thing, that once our students have completed all the classes and they practice 80 to 120 hours, it's go through the practice exam and you test yourself 5 consecutive exams, which we reference you from the textbooks. You get 70% passing every consecutive test you go for. And these are all exams online, simulated exams. You pass that, now you raise your passing rate all the way to 90%. But if you don't go through that process, it is hard to say, it could be as low as 30, 35%.
Okay. Mr. Wilkens, do you have any additional information regarding that?
To be honest with you, no, I don't keep the statistics. I have not heard of any of my students tell me that they failed the exam, but I get feedback, and maybe they're more happy to share when they pass it, and they tell me they passed it. But I'm afraid I don't have any statistics. I can't give you any real rate, but I feel very confident. A lot depends on what kind of a student you are, okay? So if you're an active student, you take notes, you do the exercises, you're engaged in the class, you study the notes, and as Dr. Inamdar does, so do I in my classes. I provide the copies of the slides that we use online. If you study that material, you have a very, very good chance of passing the exam.
Okay. We have another question. If we can't attend or may be late, is there a recording or makeup time to get the information? Sometimes the student has issues regarding travel, inavailability, and such things like that. So what is your take on that?
Kamal?
Yeah, the session, when we present to you just the way we are doing right now, at the end of the session, we get the recorded session. I post the recorded session, the link on a Blackboard. So you can play that. Now, whether you can use that recorded session to make up a class, that is not acceptable because we want our students to be in the classroom. In some cases, we would go probably if a student has, to make up a class, we would request him to go and make up a class with my colleague's class, and he teaches on a different night. But the recording sessions, the recorded sessions are available. To get attendance for that is not in our rules and regulations yet. And we might think about that, but again, it's not my call to make that, to say, yes, you can be listening to that. And how many would you go for? Right now, we are saying we're going to go for every attendance that we need to have. That's full attendance. And for you to go and get some more understanding, you can always pay that, sure. So,
if I may just add my, I'm sorry, if I may just add my perspective, because I do deal with it differently. I do not record my classes. Number one, it becomes rather a humongous recording file to record 3 hours of Zoom. And more importantly, I think the students feel more open if they realize they're not being recorded, they're not on record. So I do not bother to do that, and I haven't had any requests for it either. So I think that works. And Microsoft Project recording is just not totally practical anyway because of the nature of the delivery.
Okay. One last question. What is the cost of the PMBOK textbook currently?
Allow me to jump on that one because I pulled it up on the internet on my other computer. Okay. I see it here at Amazon for $61. I see a used copy on eBay for $55. I see one that doesn't say at Target for $53. And there's another one at Target for $99. You don't want to buy that one. So you can find it, I'd say, anywhere from $50 to $60 thereabouts. One quick comment on that, okay? Kamal mentioned the benefits of membership in PMI. If you're a PMI member, you get a free download in PDF format of the PMBOK guide, and you can actually use that. So that doesn't cost you anything, but you have to be a PMI member, and that costs you $120 or thereabouts. So, but it has other benefits as well. So,
and Tammo, thanks for saying that. To add what you just have said, it makes more sense to download from PMI because, as I mentioned to you during my discussion, PMI is in a process of releasing a new edition, which is going to be the 7th edition. If you buy a hard copy now, and if you want to go in the exam by then, if it's changed to 7th edition, guess what? That textbook is not good for you anymore. I strongly recommend, which Tammo just explained, is to go on PMI, be a member, download for free, and when you need a hard copy, wait until the 7th edition comes out. That's projected to be coming out within a month or so now. Of course, that's what they've been saying. So that is the cost, and 7th edition may be a different cost issue than what we are buying for the 6th edition. So,
okay. All right, gentlemen, we appreciate all of your feedback, and I'm going to go ahead and move forward so that we can go into our closing. And at this point, we've covered a great deal of information regarding the programs, but just in case you missed anything, feel free to email us or call us during our business hours, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call at 310-243-2075. Or you can email us at learn@csudh.edu. And when you're ready to take your next steps and register, go ahead and contact our registration office, who will be standing by to take your information at 310-243-3741. And please click on option number 1 when you hear the music. But remember also, if you've recently been a student at CSUDH, please simply log into your My CSUDH portal and register for your courses online. At this point, I think we are good to go. This concludes our program, Project Management Certificate Programs Information Session, and we want to thank you for joining us today. Again, feel free to connect with us on our website via social media or on our Facebook or LinkedIn groups, and remember to register early to get your spot in your preferred classes. We'll stay in the session for a few minutes more to give everyone a moment to jot down last-minute notes and download the Project Management Information Kit from the chat panel. The recording for this session will be online shortly on our website and linked in via social media as well. When you're ready to leave, simply click the red leave button in the corner of your screen. And once again, thank you for joining us. Stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you in class. Take care, everyone.